Kia ora, and welcome to the first video in the HTW Assessment Tool series. Great to have you on board as we take you through some of the key information and features that you should be aware of as an organisation administrator or as a tutor or educator making use of the Literacy and Numeracy for Adults assessment tool. Now in this first video we're just going to do a quick whip through the application itself, the key tabs, and where you would find particular information. So in this video I've jumped straight in and I've logged in as an educator, and that's always visible to you on the top right hand side whether you're logged in as an educator or an organisation administrator. You land on the Home tab, and on the Home tab where we've got a message up it will be displayed here. So system messages, if you do see something listed here, please do take the time to have a read of it. This will be where we convey information about outages, which is actually what this one was for the 21st of July, updates, and also if new products and new assessment options are available. So yeah, if you do see something there, do take the time to have a look at it. Beyond that, the Home tab acts as a dashboard, and it'll connect or display any online or paper-based assessments that you're working with. Jumping into the Assessments tab. The Assessments tab is where you as an educator can create assessments, and that's all listed here on the right hand side, and beyond that you can also interact with any assessments that you've got created. In some cases educators will have assessments created on their behalf by their organisation administrator, who will then connect you to the assessment. It all ends up in the same place. You can see the assessments you've created or the assessments that have been assigned to you. As you cast your eye across here, information about the assessment name, how many learners that are assigned to a given assessment, which is the number within the brackets or the parentheses, and then the number of learners who have completed an assessment is shown in that first number. Assessment area, assessment type, and assessment type can be particularly relevant particularly for those of you that may be doing a blend of online or paper-based activity. Others might be doing online only, and then other groups may be doing paper-based only. Beyond that, audience, in terms of the key or target audience for the particular assessment option that you've selected. Again, this will likely come down to fund or your policy or your practices within your organisation. Do you work with a particular flavour of the assessment tool? If you're doing youth guarantees, you'll be doing the youth option. If you're doing SAC funded work, for instance, you've got the option to choose between multi, youth and adult, whichever one you feel would best suit your learners. If you do ever have any questions about audience, etc., do get in contact with us at the Assessment Tool Help Desk, and we can steer you towards information from TEC to put a bit of context around that. The next thing that we've got is status. If you're doing an online assessment, you need to activate it before your learners are able to begin, and in fact one of the biggest support requests that we get for online assessments is that learners can't sit it, and often, or most often, the rationale or the reason is that it hasn't yet been activated. So always activate your assessments if you're anticipating your learners sitting them, and one way that you can look to kind of control that situation is actually physically handing out those assessment codes when you're ready for your learners to start. There's a range of filtering and reporting options that are available on the right hand side, so we would suggest that you explore those, but for educators who generally won't have a huge number of assessments at any given time, you may not need those particular filters, but they are very useful if you also happen to wear the hat of an organisation administrator, so you're creating and managing a lot of content for assessments within your organisation. Now the Learners tab. So the Learners tab will list all of the active learners within your organisation that you are connected to through the group system. So there's an interplay between learners that are loaded within the tool and the group system and the groups that you are connected to. You can only, as an educator, see learners within the assessment tool where those learners are placed into a group, and you yourself as an educator are also assigned to that group. So one of the key things to consider, if you're jumping into your Learners tab, you've got a class of, well, 40 is probably quite high for a class. Say you've got a class of 25, you jump into the assessment tool and you can only see 20. What you need to do then is get in contact with your organisation administrator to find out the status of those 5 missing learners. Chances are those learners have either been A, not loaded into the tool, so that's something that would need to be followed up, B, They've been loaded into the tool by your organisation administrator, but they haven't been placed into your group. So that's something that you want to check on with your org admin. They're the go-to people for that, to make sure that you can see the learners that you're working with. And by the learners being available within your learners tab or available to you, that means you can create assessments, you can assign those learners to those assessments, you can look at any data that's been generated by those particular learners, and you can also run a range of reports. And those reports are listed on the right hand side in the toolbar here, and we'll cover those in more detail in upcoming videos. So that's a whistle-stop tour of the main elements around logging in for the first time as an educator. Again, assessments, learners and group tabs, those are the things you need to be familiar with. Yeah, so we'll look forward to seeing you in further videos. Ka kite.